Is it a conflict of interest to work with family? What do you think? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, child development, and education, all through the lens of the principles self-government. And in this video, we're talking about working with family. I have a lot of experience working with family. I own a business. I also head an organization. My husband owns a business. We've had a lot of experience, and there are some good things and there are some bad things that I'd like to share. So in this video, we'll share some personal experiences and give you some tips about working with family. So when we're really considering if it's a conflict of interest to work with family, we have to really ask ourselves, what does it mean, a conflict of interest? A conflict of interest is when someone is competing between two loyalties. So we would have the loyalty to the family relationship and the loyalty to the business. What do you think? Could that be a problem? The answer is yes, it absolutely could be a problem, but there are people that make it work all the time, that they're able to just switch gears. They're able to say, I have to put the business first. Everything that we do over here is business first, and it has nothing to do with family. And then over here, when we're all family and we're being just family together, then everything has to do with family. You have to be able to segment your life a little bit in order to work with family. Otherwise, there are some risks of going into business with family. Let's talk a little bit about what some of those risks could be. One of the biggest ones is probably like the money and making emotional decisions because you're emotionally connected to a family member. Maybe they're like asking you to loan money. Maybe they're feeling like they can use the money a little bit differently. Those types of things can create a lot of contention in families. They can actually bankrupt businesses because people are not having a clear boundary line because the person is a family member. So even if the person is a family member, there has to be a clear boundary line in place. I've had times where I have paid family members out of my own personal, like I pay the finances from the business and I've paid them. And then I realized this is not the right way to do this. I have to have somebody else pay them. That's really important. And I'm glad I did, because that helps them be able to get, like houses and stuff like that. If they work with you and it looks like it's too connected to you and they're a family member, then suddenly it seems like that you're not sure if that person's really going to have money in the future or not. So when it comes to the finances, that's where it can really get tricky. And then there's just like the basic trust. We want to trust our family members, but what if people start taking advantage of that relationship? They do things that then create problems in the business. Now, some people could have the same problem actually with friends. You could have a really good friend and you could go into business with a really good friend and you could still have an issue. Yet there's people who are friends that go into business together all the time and they actually make it work. There are horrible stories out there. And so to say cut and dry is it a conflict of interest, I would say in some ways it depends on the person, right? It could be a conflict of interest, but I have family members that are working for me, and there were times where my husband had family members working for him, and I have good friends who have associations with me in organizations, coalitions, other things I'm part of, and even if I head those things, it doesn't really seem like that there's become a problem there because we respect that boundary. So it has a lot to do with the leader. So within my business, teaching self-government, I have a daughter who actually went to school to get a degree in marriage and family. She went ahead and got that degree. She is definitely qualified to be doing all the work she does with my company, with the parenting company. Plus, she was raised with all the principles and skills of self-government. She knows it backwards and forwards. She's been teaching it since she was a little girl. So she's like the perfect person I would want working for my business and helping me mentor people and do lots of different things. We do a podcast together. There's a lot of things that we do. But we have this incredible relationship where we just explicitly trust each other. We both have a ton of integrity. She is super honest. I mean, without guile. Like, she's the type of person that will tell you absolutely everything. That makes a big difference. I have a real big dedication to having integrity and being honest too. So we're always going to be honest with each other. We know that. So we don't ever worry about the other person taking advantage of each other. We also, when we talk about business, we keep that a little bit separated than when we talk about personal life. I mean, it's not to say the conversations never bleed together, but not usually. I say, hey, I need to talk to you something about business. Then we talk about the business. Then I say, okay, regular life. So what's going on with the children, and how's so-and-so with their sickness or whatever. And we talk about all of that kind of stuff. And we literally just fragment and shift gears, and it works out perfectly. But some people might not be able to do that. In fact, some people, if their employee, which happens to be their daughter, messes up, like loses them money or something like that, they might actually like take it even more personally than if it was just a regular employee that wasn't related to them. So for me, I have had a lot of things occur business-wise because of family members working for me. I've had sisters-in-law who've worked for me. I've had sons and daughters and friends and people over the years who've done different things for me. I do love just having volunteers. Sometimes that works out really nice because volunteer, there's not that same expectation there. And there's a lot of people who like to volunteer with the work that I do. But also the people who are paid, which all those people I listed were on payroll and would get paid, those people are people that we would have good communication with them. And when they made a mistake, they lost me money or whatever it was, I would say, well, okay, that's what happened. And I would do the same thing when my other assistant loses me money. I would say, well, okay, that's how it goes. And, you know, if they have to be reprimanded, they would have to be reprimanded. But, you know, sometimes people make mistakes. But I had to say, I'm not going to take it personal. Okay, that might be my child. That might be my sister-in-law. That might be, but I can't take it personally. And I think that's the biggest thing that you have to do when you're working with family is make sure that you don't take it personally. So is it a conflict of interest? It can be. Can you be a leader that separates your family life and then your business life? If you can do that, then I would say you're probably pretty safe. I would say for my daughter, if I'm going to be completely honest, I think teaching self-government and that business has actually brought us closer together. In fact, I think all of the years that my children worked for the company doing shipping and content management and that kind of stuff, it actually was time that brought us closer together instead of tearing us apart. Sometimes when people are done being in business with each other, they are torn apart, their relationships are ruined, and that, I think, is a tragedy. So obviously, if you can't solve problems well as a family, then you'd probably not want to go into business with each other. But our family has a history of solving problems well, discussing things, and I'm a patient person, and I think that makes a big difference. So can you develop your patience? Can you maintain your calmness? That's probably some of the biggest questions you need to ask yourself if you're going to go into business with family. I will say that working on your own calmness could really pay out for you. There is a calm parenting toolkit that I have. It's called Teaching Self-Government Calm Parenting Toolkit. It's on my website for free right now. So if you go to teachingselfgovernment.com, then get that calm parenting toolkit, you'll learn 10 tools for calmness that will actually help you with all of your relationships, whether it's a work relationship or a family relationship or anything else. I'll see you there.